Every sports league has their old team that fans are nostalgic about, even if they never rooted for that team. They might spark childhood memories, memories of going to games with friends, family, you name it. In the basketball world, this title has to go first and foremost to the Seattle Supersonics. They haven't taken the court since 2008, yet they have remained in the hearts of NBA fans ever since. Hey guys, it's Harrison and welcome back to Awkward Sports History. I'm really excited. This is my first basketball video on the channel, which means I'll finally have covered all four major sports. I know you guys are just excited as I am, so let's get into the topic of this week's episode, the awkward history of the Seattle Supersonics. Oh, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe down below. The Supersonics played their first game on October 13th, 1967 against the San Francisco Warriors. They picked up their first win in team history 8 days later against the San Diego Rockets. Like every team not named the Vegas Golden Knights, the first few years of the Supersonics' history were mediocre at best, with one winning record in their first 7 seasons. The Supersonics also experienced a weird turn of events in their early years. Owner Sam Schulman was very keen on successfully merging the NBA and the ABA. He was so keen on it that he said if the merger didn't happen, he would move the Supersonics to the ABA and potentially move them to Los Angeles to compete with the Lakers. Neither of these things would actually happen, and the NBA and the ABA would successfully merge in 1976. NBA basketball would remain Seattle for now. Staying in the NBA would be a wise choice for the Supersonics, as a run of success came shortly after. The Supersonics reached the playoffs for the first time in 1975. The team really started to come together. Hall of Fame player and coach Lenny Wilkens became the team's head coach full-time, and the team hit the jackpot in the 1976 and 1977 drafts, getting Hall of Famers Dennis Johnson and Jack Sikma. The Supersonics reached the NBA Finals in back-to-back seasons. The first time they lost to the Washington Bullets in 7 games, but got payback the next year, defeating them in 5 games for the team's sole NBA title. This was the first major championship in the 4 major sports the city of Seattle celebrates since the Seattle Metropolitans hockey team won the Stanley Cup in 1917. They wouldn't get to celebrate again until the Seahawks won Super Bowl 48. Guess it'll be up to the new Seattle's hockey team to bring home another championship. From 1975 to 1998, the Supersonics would miss the playoffs only 5 times. They won at least one playoff round 13 times, reached the conference finals 6 times, and made one last playoff appearance in the NBA Finals in 1996. The Supersonics posted their best regular season ever in 1996, going 68-14. Led by Hall of Famer Gary Payton and All-Star Shawn Kemp, they coasted to the conference finals and was able to come out on top against the Utah Jazz. Now, you might have noticed I said they stomped most of their competition. I want you to keep in mind I'm talking about the NBA in 1996. There was just one team they couldn't get past. I shouldn't have to tell you why this year is significant and which team I'm talking about. If you're not following me at all, well...
The Chicago Bulls have won the 96 NBA Championship. The presentation...
Does it at least ring a bell now? The Supersonics would struggle in the following decade with only 1 division title and 3 playoff appearances. But there was hope. In 2007, with the 2nd overall pick, Seattle drafted Kevin Durant. They had a new franchise player, and the drafting of Russell Westbrook was just a draft away. A new run of success appeared to be on the horizon for Seattle basketball. Okay, so Westbrook technically got drafted by the Supersonics, so I can say that last comment, but as you probably know, he never actually played for them. And Durant also only played in Seattle for just 1 season. Yeah, just as it seems things were about to get better for the team was gone. In 2006, the Supersonics were sold to an Oklahoma City-based group. The ownership assumed the new owners were keeping the team in Seattle when the transaction was made. The new ownership did what any ownership group that's trying to relocate would do and demand an arena they know they won't get. The prior ownership simply wanted renovations to Key Arena, but now there's a call for a $500 million new arena in the suburbs. The city of Seattle said no, and the new ownership notified the NBA that it intended to move the Supersonics to Oklahoma City. On April 18, 2008, the NBA owners voted by a vote of 28-2 to allow the Sonics to relocate to Oklahoma City after it reached an agreement with the city of Seattle. The team and the city reached an agreement on July 2nd. Here are the terms agreed upon. Oklahoma City was not allowed to use the Supersonics name after relocation. The team had to pay the city $45 million and another $30 million in 2013 if Seattle didn't get another team by then, which they did not. All trophies, banners, and retired numbers remain in Seattle. The team's nickname, logo, and color scheme would be available to any team that comes to Seattle and plays in the newly renovated Key Arena. With this agreement, the team immediately made it official and changed its name to the Oklahoma City Thunder, which they've been ever since. The Supersonics played their final game in Seattle on April 13, 2008 against the Dallas Mavericks and won 99-95. Their last game ever as the Supersonics was on April 18, 2008, the same day as the owners voted to approve the move. They also won that game, defeating the Golden State Warriors. That means the first and last Supersonics wins were against the Warriors. Seattle is still very bitter about the loss of the Supersonics. Can you blame them though? They consistently supported the team and still lost them. Attendance was consistently between 15,000 and 16,000 people a game in a 17,000 person arena. This is while the team was bad, by the way. The Supersonics were bottom third in attendance, sure, but they were still doing better than 5 or 6 other teams during those last few years. The fans also started a campaign during the 2008 local drama called SOS, Save Our Sonics. The group even managed to organize a 3,000-person rally at the U.S. District Courthouse. The anger after the Supersonics left was so great that it cost the mayor of Seattle his re-election because he failed to keep the team in town. The push to bring basketball back to Seattle is still alive and well. Some teams have attempted to relocate to Seattle since 2008. There was a major effort to move the Sacramento Kings, but the NBA rejected it. The Milwaukee Bucks became favorites to move to Seattle when they had arena troubles a few years ago, but relocation was never going to happen. A Seattle group did attempt to buy the Atlanta Hawks when they were up for sale in 2015. This move wasn't totally out of the realm of possibility, given that the same ownership group had sold the Atlanta Thrashers to a group in Winnipeg just 4 years earlier. However, this time around the ownership group wanted to sell locally. The NBA also really wanted to keep basketball in Atlanta. So, if Seattle gets a new team, my best bet is that it's going to be an expansion one. Honestly, I think it's more ideal anyway because it's easier to stick a name, logo, and history to an expansion team than one that already has a name and history of its own. With the NFL at 32 teams, the NHL about to be at 32 teams, and the MLB looking to expand in the future, it should be expected that the NBA will follow suit. And one of those expansion teams will likely be in Seattle. That will do it for this episode of Awkward Sports History. What do you think? Do you think Seattle gets a new team in the future? Let me know down below in the comments section. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week.